Alright, what's happening everybody? It's your boy Keenan. Welcome to the Pro Football Exclusive NFL blog. Here to give you my grades of the NFC West teams for their picks of this year's NFL draft. Going to start things off with the Arizona Cardinals. They had a great draft, starting off with their first selection at number 13, Michael Floyd out of Notre Dame. This kid has outstanding size, so he would definitely take the pressure off of Larry Fitzgerald on the other side of the field. Now, he does have a couple of drinking problems, some DUI violations that he had during his stay at Notre Dame, but this kid is a great talent, broke a lot of Notre Dame records, especially the record of the most receiving touchdowns in a career with 37. He reminds me a lot like Plexico Burress during his days as a New York Giants. He's a big-time red zone threat, and this could be a great acquisition for Kevin Cobb in that passing attack for the Arizona Cardinals. With their second pick, they went with cornerback from Oklahoma, Jamel Fleming. This kid, he could be a good fit for that blitzing scheme for Arizona's defense. I did like this selection. Also, they picked up an offensive tackle later in the later rounds, Bobby Macy out of Ole Miss. This kid, he was a super value for a third-day pick. I really think he could be a starter right away for the Arizona Cardinals this upcoming season. I did like that selection. And another player I need to talk about, Ryan Lindley. They picked him up in the later rounds, the quarterback out of San Diego State. This kid has the school record for 90 touchdown passes in a career, and I really think he is a good quarterback. Yes, he is somewhat of a project, but I really think he could develop to be a decent quarterback and help out that Cardinal offense. Now, for over the seasons, we have been seeing the quarterbacks not play too well for the Arizona Cardinals, with Max Hall out of BYU, John Skelton a couple of years back, and Ryan Matt Leinart out of USC. He turned out to be a bust for the Arizona Cardinals. They then went with Kevin Cobb acquiring him from the Philadelphia Eagles, and he's not really playing up to par thus far, but we do not see this is the second season, so we cannot actually come out with a full opinion about Kevin Cobb. So they had to go with Ryan Lindley. This kid is a good quarterback. Hopefully he could back up Kevin Cobb or even start when needed. I think this kid is a little bit of a project, but I think for some reason, I'm going to have him as my sleeper quarterback that everybody needs to look at from this year's NFL draft. Now, overall for this team, I'm going to go with a B+. I did like their selection, especially with Bobby Macy and Michael Floyd. Great pickups for that offense, and I think Jamel Fleming will work well with that defense. So I'm going to have to give this team a B+. Next team to talk about, my San Francisco 49ers. They had a pretty decent draft, not too great of a B+ as I'm going to give the Arizona Cardinals, but they still had a decent draft. Now, they threw a wild card wrench in that first round with their first selection with A.J. Jenkins out of Illinois. This kid does have a lot of speed, and they knew exactly what they were going for with that first selection. This kid, do not forget, I don't think this is too bad of a pick, though, because he did have over 1,300 yards fully fighting the Illini last season, and he does acquire a lot of speed, so this could definitely help out for that receiving core for the San Francisco 49ers. They have been struggling. They've been depending more on Vernon Davis at the tight end position, but I think that he could lay back just a little bit, and I think that Jenkins could work right away, at least as a slot third receiver for the Niners, and maybe even the number one receiver in future, but we will see. Anything can happen. With the second pick, they went with Michael James out of Oregon. This kid had over 1,500 yards in 3 consecutive seasons. I think this is a good pick, as well as Jenkins. They really were looking for high-speed players for that offense. I think this is going to be a great change-up in the running attack and change of pace in the running game for San Francisco with him and Kendall Hunter and Frank Gore. Do not forget about this guy. He does average over 4 yards per carry. Still a good, tough runner, but I think this could be a change of pace. But the thing I'm a little bit worried about is having a rotation with all three of these running backs. I was a little bit surprised with them picking up Michael James, but he is a good scat back, and they're probably going to use some more like Darren Sproles, a good nifty back who could run himself between the holes. The holes don't have to be too big from the offensive lineman, and I really think because of his speed, that this could be a good change of pace of that offense for the Niners. So overall, a couple other players we need to talk about. Darius Fleming out of Notre Dame, they picked him up as a linebacker. I see him more as a special teams player. I don't really think he's going to start for that defense because they have one of the sickest linebacker core in the league with Navarro Bowman and Patrick Willis. They also picked up Cam Johnson out of in the 7th round, and I think he's an underachiever pass rusher out of Virginia. I think that was pretty much of a wasted pick. So because of that, I'm going to give this team a C+, a solid C+. Not going to get bashed on them too bad. I think Michael James was a little bit of a question mark as well, but this does pack up a lot of speed, and I understand what they're going with that pick. And I think with the A.J. Jenkins selection, it's a little bit of a wild card pick for that first pick, but I really think he could be a good acquisition for the Niners. So I'm going to have to give with them a C+. Next team to talk about, the Seattle Seahawks. Now, they had the biggest surprise of that first round with the 15th overall selection. They went with Bruce Irvin out of West Virginia. This kid is a great pass rusher, but he's coming off an arrest due to vandalism charges that he had last month. And everybody was pretty shocked with this selection. The reason why Pete Carroll went with him, because they believe that he is the best pass rusher coming into this year's NFL draft. And a lot of people do believe that, but that is all he is. He is not a run stopper. He will not support that run. He is not an every down defensive end, and I don't really think you should have got just particularly a specialist in pass rushing for their first pick. I was pretty shocked with that, but I'm not going to hate too much because I do understand the direction that they're going, especially with Chris Clemens on the other side. This could wreak havoc for quarterbacks in the later years if Bruce Irvin does spruce up and live to that potential that Pete Carroll see him as a good player. But I'm really surprised with this pick because he is not a run stopper, and I really think you need an all-around player, especially with their first selection. He is not a tackler in stopping the run. He is just mainly a pass rusher, but I do kind of understand what Pete Carroll wanted. He just wanted a pass rusher, and he knew exactly what he wanted with that selection. With the next couple of picks, they had good picks. In my opinion, they picked up Bobby Wagner, the linebacker out of Utah State. He had over 100 tackles for the past couple of seasons. He was definitely filling that void with David Hawthorne now with the New Orleans Saints, and I think he could work well with Barrett Ruud coming out of the Tennessee Titans. The Seattle Seahawks just signed him with a deal for a couple of years, and I think he could work well with Bobby Wagner. And in their third pick, they picked up Robert Turbin out of Utah State as well. This kid is a great NFL size, 222 pounds. He can definitely catch the ball a little bit out of the backfield, and he is a bruiser, and he will definitely give Marshawn Lynch some breathers or two for a couple of series. I think these two selections were outstanding. Now, overall, I'm going to give this team a B. Because of the Bruce Irvin selection, I'm a little bit shocked, but he is a great pass rusher. I do understand Pete Carroll, but with the other two picks with Bobby Wagner and Robert Turbin, I do like those two selections. Very great, and I have to give them an overall a B for their selections. And last but not least, we need to talk about the St. Louis Rams. I really was shocked at what they did during this offseason. They started off the NFL draft with the number 2 overall selection, but they decided to trade with the Washington Redskins and bump back into the number 6 selection, and then they ended up trading that number 6 selection to the Dallas Cowboys. So then I was like, what the hell are you guys doing? They basically just lost the top 6 selections. They could have picked up Justin Blackmon, or they could have picked up Morris Claiborne. Morris Claiborne is definitely top 5 quality, and I think they had an opportunity to select him and bump up because they did pick up 2 first-round selections from the Washington Redskins, and I think they could have used those to pick up Morris Claiborne at number 5 and maybe even at number 4. I was pretty shocked what they did, but they still had an outstanding draft at the end of the day. Starting with the number 14 pick, they picked up Michael Brockers out of LSU. A lot of people questioned him if he could be that dominant defensive tackle for the Rams defense. I think he does have the potential. I think he can be that go-to guy in the interior lineman for the defense, and I think because he is such a beast and a relentless player, this could be a great future player for the Rams in the later years. The next couple of selections, I was a little bit shocked with the receiver position. They went with Brian Quick out of Appalachian State, but when you look back and look at the tape, this kid is outstanding. 20 yards per catch last season, man. This kid is definitely a deep ball threat, and a lot of people will question him. Will he be that deep ball threat for Sam Bradford? I think he can. He had an outstanding career while he was at Appalachian State, and I did like this selection with their second pick. Next, a couple other picks they had. They stick with the offensive side with Isaiah P., the running back out of Cincinnati. This kid could be a good change-up for Steven Jackson. He was the Big East Offensive Player of the Year last season. He's a great all-around athlete, and I think him and Steven Jackson can become a decent tandem in the National Football League. And then now they went on the defensive side. They picked up 2 outstanding cornerbacks, and I'm not too mad about the Morris Claiborne selection when they decided to skip out on him, because they picked up 2 great cornerbacks, starting with Janoris Jenkins out of North Alabama. I was pretty shocked that he bumped back as far as the Rams expected him to be. They ended up picking up a good steal. This was a big steal in the draft because he's an excellent cover corner. Some people actually think he's a better cover corner than Morris Claiborne. I do not think that, but he is still an excellent player. Yes, he does have a couple of marijuana issues and got in trouble in the past, but I still think he's a tremendous athlete, and he will start right away for that defense. And the other cornerback that they picked up Montana's Tremaine Johnson. This kid has size, and I think he could start for the St. Louis Rams along with Janoris Jenkins. Two rookies working together. I really think that defense had a big rebuild this upcoming draft, picking up Brockers and 2 outstanding cornerbacks. I really think this could help out that defense. So overall for this team and their selections, I forgot one more pick. They picked up a good kicker out of Missouri State, Greg Zerline. He went 9 for 9 this past season with 50 yards or more in his kicks, and I really think that could help out that defense, that offense a little bit, and even the defense. If the offense kind of messed things up, they could rely on him to get at least 3 points on their drives. I did like that selection. So overall for this team, going back, I'm gonna have to give them an A. My first A out of all of these teams. They had a solid draft, and I was so shocked at what they did. They did a great job trading up those picks and still picked up great, outstanding, valuable players. I was really shocked about the St. Louis Rams, and I gotta give them a little bit of clap. They had a great draft, so I have to give them an A overall. Now, the next time I'm gonna catch you guys is either tomorrow night or Saturday, most likely tomorrow night, very late tomorrow night, where I will give you my grades of the NFC North Division. Thank you for watching today's vlog from Pro Football Exclusive. I'm your man, Keenan McCall. Be easy.